This is I Can See Clearly Now. My name is T.R. Carr. I'm the host for this series of interviews, people running for city council and mayor, city of Farmington Hills. We're spending time with each council member, let them answer questions in their own words. Today, I'll be interviewing Valerie Knol, candidate for city council, city of Farmington Hills. Valerie, welcome to I Can See Clearly Now. How should I refer to you? As Valerie or
Valerie is great.
okay?
Mhm.
What we want to do is to allow you to answer questions in your own words, so that you can people can watch the video and understand more about you. The first question I have is that the position of city council is a very, very part-time position. It meets twice a month, unless there are special meetings. Why are you seeking this particular office? What has driven you to seek such a part-time position?
Sure. Well, thanks. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here. So thanks for having me. I have been honored to serve on City Council in Farmington Hills for the past 12 years. Before that, I was on the City of Farmington Council for 8 years. I've lived in this community for over 30 years. This is where I'm raising my daughter, and I love this community. As you said, it is part-time. I do have a full-time job during the day. Currently, I work in the auto industry at Stellantis. Before that, I worked in the Michigan House of Representatives. So I have a diverse background in both government as well as management and the auto industry. So I think I bring a lot of diverse experience to this position. And it's again, as I said, it's been an honor to serve the community. I mean, during my time on council, I focused on fiscal management and providing quality services. And I think I have a proven track record of listening to the residents and cooperation and collaboration. And I think we need experienced leadership moving forward. And I want to be part of that. I think my record speaks for itself. And there's still a lot to do in the city of Farmington Hills as far as planning for the future. So that's why I'm running again for this part-time job.
All right, thank you. This question has a couple of parts. We know, for one question I've asked everybody, deals with campaign finance. We know we can go to Oakland County and look data, but I'm asking each candidate, what's the size of your campaign budget? How much you anticipate spending? Not in exact numbers, but approximately how much you think it will cost to finance your campaign for city council?
Well, unfortunately, postage has become very, very expensive. Just to mail the first portion of the AV list, so just so you know, the AV list, the first batch that went out several weeks ago was over 20,000 voters. So if you household that, you're looking at over $10,000 just to send one piece of campaign literature to those voters. So it's extremely expensive. That doesn't even include buying yard signs or any advertising you may do in the Farmington Press and so forth. So it's expensive to run a race. So it's very hard to do it on a couple $100s. So I hope to raise $6,000, $7,000. That's my goal. So I can send out the mailing that I just sent out, that I can pay for that. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to mail to the entire list just because I'm not sure I'm going to have the funds for that. But my goal is $6,000, $7,000. If I could raise more than that, that would be great. That would certainly pay for this mailing.
The next question I have is, what is the source of funding for your campaign? Is your campaign coming primarily from people within Farmington Hills, the local area, or is your funding coming from outside of the city? The bulk of,
I would say the bulk is within Farmington Hills. I do have a variety of friends all within Oakland County, Macomb County, reaching up to Lansing, people that I have worked with over, my 30 years in either the auto industry or working in the House of Representatives up in Lansing. So, I have a variety of friends throughout the state. So some of them are probably going to be donating as well, based on our, 20, 30-year friendship. But, and they may not live in Farmington Hills, but I would say the bulk is within Farmington Hills community, Novi, Southfield, West Bloomfield, kind of, this area.
So your funding is basic from local sources or from friends, things like that.
Family. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the bulk.
One thing we would say is that the office, the position of city council is really nonpartisan. And it's intended to be independent from political parties, partisan politics. Are you supported by a political party? Are you, if so, what's the nature of that support?
I have not received any funds from a political party. So yeah, I think my reputation and my track record on council over the past, over 12 years here in Farmington Hills and another 8 years in Farmington speaks to the fact that I can work with a variety of different people, whether Republican, Democrat, Independent. Again, we all are nonpartisan on this council, but people obviously do have their own personal beliefs. And I think the many items that we've been able to accomplish here in the city has proven that I can work with a variety of people and listen to the residents and try to collaborate with the council members to really come up with some practical, reasonable solutions.
The next question I have deals with a consultant that the city has contracted with from Atlanta, Georgia, to review special services. Special services is basically park and recreation, but in Farmington Hills, special services also includes senior services. They, in their first report, I read both of the reports they've given to council, they found that seniors overwhelmingly tend to prefer the caustic site. And yet another site that has been discussed is building a new facility at the Hawk, or even something at Oakland, OCC, Oakland Community College. But OCC is less and less of an option because they're building a hockey rink, and that's going to, so really, it's really not OCC. It's basically build a new facility at the site on 11 Mile where the Caustic Center is currently located, or build a pool, a gymnasium, and meeting rooms at the Hawk. So the general question I've asked everybody is, what is your position on the future of senior services in Farmington Hills?
Great question. Very important and very relevant right now. I have heard from many seniors, whether it's through email, whether it's at council meetings, whether it's at the Caustic Center or the Hawk, or whether it's out and about in the community at different fairs and festivals or in the grocery store and so forth. So one thing that I've heard from the seniors is that they want something very similar to what they have, in that a pool with lap lanes that's a little warmer temperature, that water aerobics can be done in as well. They want a gym for pickleball and for a variety of other sorts of exercise classes. Certainly they want a space where they can have congregate meals. We know how important the Meals on Wheels program is in Farmington Hills. Obviously they want meeting space, different size meeting space where they can play bridge or have a variety of other activities and lectures and so forth. They want convenient parking. They want all one level. So very similar to what they have at the Caustic Center, except of course we know the Caustic Center is aging. And part of what the consultant has been doing is looking at a variety of options. One option was to renovate the existing Caustic Center, and it's become very apparent that that's just not feasible. The building is very, very old, and the cost of renovations would not really give us the quality building that we need for our seniors. So we do need to build a new building. It's important as well, not only do we have to find the money to pay for it, and we're looking at potentially $30 million for to build a new senior center, but we also need the money to sustain the programming long-term into the future. What we don't want is to build this building and then not be able to afford it. And I won't name names, but there are some other cities that are near us that built beautiful facilities, but now they don't have the money to maintain them, and they've had to shut them down, and they're vacant, shuttered buildings. So we don't want that. We want something that's sustainable. So at this point, we are looking at different funding opportunities. How are we going to fund it within the existing fund balance that we have in the city, or any new revenue that we can get through grants,
whether it's from private donors or there's a possibility of maybe getting money from Oakland County. So there's a variety of options we're looking at how to fund the construction and the long-term operation. So at this point, I am open to either the existing land at off of 11 Mile or building a separate location at the Hawk. But let me just say again, even if it were a separate location at the Hawk, it would still be a similar building. No matter where the building is built, I am committed to maintaining the senior services that they have now and making sure that this new building accommodates all of the kind of their wish list, basically what they have now, you know, the one level, wide hallways, the easy parking, all of that. And there is plenty of excess land at the Hawk, whether we're talking south of the Hawk or east of the Hawk. There's vacant land to east of the Hawk. There is a woods there right now, but that is all part of the Hawk property. And of course, south of the Hawk, there's excess land as well that's not all being used to the best use possible.
One thing that I read, one of the reports from the consultant, there does not appear to be any data on the costs for adding new facilities at the Hawk. I know the report did indicate the Hawk is about 55 years old, so it's not a new building. And the report said deferred maintenance on the Hawk itself is, this is an approximation, 10 to 12, or maybe upwards of $15 million current maintenance that needs to be performed on the Hawk itself. That's exclusive of anything else. Have you received, as a city council, since you're on the council, have you received any cost estimates for either of these locations yet, or is that something that is yet to be provided to the council?
That has yet to be provided. Right now, I'm giving you an estimate, 25, 30 million. I think on the low end, you're maybe looking at 22, 23, up to 30 million. Those are just estimates. I think we need to narrow that down, obviously. And part of that will be the location. If we go with the excess land at the Hawk, then the land south of the Caustic Center, that land can be sold off. Of course, there's also the cost of demolition of the Caustic Center, but that land where the Caustic Center is up to 11 Mile Road can be sold off. I don't think we know yet what that land is valued at. That is all something, of course, that would depend on future use of that land and what could potentially go there and be developed there. So that's just one example of what needs to be done yet to really finalize what the cost would be for each location. Now, when you're talking about the Hawk, we have the third floor at the Hawk. I'm kind of switching gears now. There is, we always have a deficit in special services. In general, special services, Parks and Recs, doesn't make money. Certain aspects of it do. Much of our programming that we have at the Hawk makes money, but then we have other programming that doesn't make money, whether it's senior service or the cultural arts. Those aren't necessarily money makers. It's the nature of Parks and Recs. And so we've always taken money from the general fund to pay for Parks and Recs, and that will continue to be the case. But I think what we've seen is that we need to narrow that deficit. And this consultant that you mentioned has put forth a plan of how we can narrow that deficit. And we're well into that plan. We've already narrowed that deficit by about $2 million. And we still would like to narrow it by another $2 million to get to where we really think is a sustainable number. And so that consultant is looking at a variety of things. And like I said, they put forth a plan of how we can narrow that deficit at the Hawk. That's really kind of separate from the senior center, a new senior center. So we kind of have two issues here. So we are working on that. Now, the other item that you mentioned is some deferred capital expenditures at the Hawk. Some of that relates to the third floor at the Hawk. Right now, that third floor isn't being used to its full capacity or its full potential. There are some groups that rent some space on the third floor. Additionally, the fire department is located there, but of course that's just temporary. That's because they were having construction done to fire station number 5, which is the one on Orchard and 11 Mile. But actually we're having a grand opening for that next week. So they will be moving back into that fire station very soon. So again, that was a temporary use. But one of the items that we still have to accomplish is a use for that third floor at the Hawk. I think it's, one of the options was maybe putting the senior center up there, but I'm not sure that that's really a cost-effective use of the third floor. And additionally, I'm not sure that would give the seniors what they're looking for. And, you can do anything with the right amount of money. I mean, heck, you can lower parking lots, raise parking lots, blow off roofs and do expansions. There's a lot you could do. But again, is that really cost effective? And I'm not sure it would be. And that is why, I think the most cost effective option for a new senior center is going to be a separate building. And then the third floor of the Hawk, we have to find another use for that so that we can really use that space to its full potential. And at that point, then some of those kind of deferred capital expenditures on the third floor can be made once we know what the use of that third floor is going to be.
I was looking at some of your campaign literature. One thing I'll ask people to do is, explain something about. Now, you're one member of the council. You have one vote among 7, and in fact, the mayor only has one vote as well.
Correct. The mayor in Farmington Hills is really more of a figurehead. The mayor does preside over the meetings and lead the meetings and works with the city manager to set the agenda, but really the entire council has input into that agenda. So again, we are a strong city manager government, which basically means we're a weak mayor. We have a strong city manager. The city manager is the one that does the day-to-day operation of the city, and the department heads report into the city manager, and then the city manager reports to the council. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the city manager does report to the entire council.
Right. So you're right. The mayor has one vote equal with all the other council members. Mm-hmm.
So in reality, if I hear you correctly, this is my experience as having served in a council manager form of government, is that everybody is equal, and it's sometimes that we want to claim credit for everything, but it's really 7 people.
It's a team effort. And that's why collaboration is so important, being able to get along with your colleagues. We do not want drama. We do not want infighting on city council. That's for sure.
That's really important, because you have to be able to cooperate to be able to achieve your objectives.
And to maintain the reputation of our city. I do not want to become one of those cities that is known for infighting amongst their council.
Very difficult to make progress,
Exactly.
I think. It's a very astute observation.
We've always been known as a professional city, well-run, and professional employees, and I want to maintain that reputation.
Yeah, so that, I guess as I'm listening to you and reading your literature, you talk about things that you want to see Farmington Hills. You talk about a safe city. You talk about a fiscally responsible city. So these are all things that really is a cooperative venture on the part of basically the city council, if I hear you correctly?
Very true. Safety is the #1 priority, and that's why people move here. One of the main reasons, there's other reasons as well, but one of the main reasons is they want to raise their children in a safe environment. They want to be able to walk down the street, do their shopping, run their errands, go to work, do everything that they have to do, daily activities, and feel safe, whether they're in their homes or whether they're out in the community in Farmington Hills. They want to feel safe. And we have been blessed with a very, very good police department and fire department. But part of that is due to the support of the council in making sure that we fund them adequately and that we support them and give them what they need. It is tough today being a police officer. I mean, there are a lot of people out there that don't respect the police anymore, and it's such a shame. They're not treated with the respect that they should have. They're, police and fire, they're the first ones to run into a building when there's danger. Everyone else is running out, they're running in. So I strongly believe in supporting them with the necessary tools, with the funding and the budget. And if we do not have 4 votes, there's 7 us on council, we need 4 votes to get anything done in Farmington Hills, to get a budget passed or to vote on any ordinances and so forth. So it's important that we have at least 4 people on council that support our police department. We have an excellent police department. They are one of the only police departments in all of the state to be certified. They exceed all state training. They are just so professional. They are so involved in the community. They are constantly going out to different community organizations and speaking to them or participating in different events. So I see our police department everywhere, and they really want to be active in the community and engage the community, because that's how you build trust.
So if I hear you correctly, you seem to be saying that nobody on the council member, mayor, should really be viewed as a lone ranger. You really should be viewed as a cooperative unit, and that leadership is something that's expected of every council member, not just the mayor. So within that rating, I know one of the things you've talked about is on your literature, growing the economic base and foundation of Farmington Hills. We have a lot of small businesses with the Greater Farmington Chamber. We have some large corporations here, Bosch, Nissan, Humanetics. They build all the crash dummies. Those crash dummies cost upwards of $1 million plus just to build some of those crash dummies. So what would be your strategy? What is your goal, I guess, in terms of seeing both small businesses and you would see the larger corporations? What do you think you should do? What do you think the city council should do to build a strong economic foundation for our city?
Yeah, we need to have an economic environment here in the city of Farmington Hills that supports all our businesses, large and small. So many years ago, this goes back to the economy, the fall in 2008, when the economy tanked. And at the time, I was on the board for the Farmington Chamber. And the chamber lost numerous members just based on the economy tanking. The businesses, they couldn't pay their dues anymore. And the chamber was at risk of collapsing. And they were going to shut their doors. And I stepped up and I said, wait a minute, we are a city between Farmington and Farmington Hills of approximately 90,000, actually over 90,000 people. And we have numerous businesses here. Like you mentioned, we have large businesses that, multinational businesses headquartered here in Farmington Hills. We have to have a chamber that supports the business community. And so I stepped up with some others, and we managed to keep the doors open for the chamber, and thank goodness we did. Now the chamber is doing fine, and they're prospering, and that's great to see. So I have been committed to the business community for my many years here on council. But as far as economic development and what I'd like to see us do is we just passed a new master plan. And now we're in the stage of implementing new ordinances in order to make that master plan live, to make it viable within the community. And, we're 99% built out in this community. So we're really at this point looking at more redevelopment. Sure, we have a few pockets of green space, not a lot left. So I think it's kind of twofold. I think it's important that we continue with the process of implementing these new ordinances to make the master plan work. One of them, for example, is allowing for mixed use on 12 Mile between Orchard Lake and Haggerty, where we have a lot of office buildings on the south side of 12 Mile. And many of those office buildings, ever since COVID, and more businesses that are now have employees in a hybrid situation where they're working from home more, they don't need as much office space anymore. And so we're seeing some pretty high vacancies in those buildings. So by allowing for mixed use, it means those businesses those office buildings don't have to have just office use in the buildings. It allows them to put in retail or restaurants or possibly some condos. It allows them to either redevelop their existing building or maybe put some infill, what's called infill, a new building in what may be an empty parking lot. So I think that's critical that we move forward with that, and we're well in the works with that. And I think that could bring forth some revitalization of those empty office buildings on 12 Mile. Additionally, when it comes to infill in whatever, small pockets of that green space that we have. I mean, we have to balance private property rights. Someone does own that property. And if it is zoned for a particular use, we have to some extent, we have to allow them to use it for that use. But at the same time, why I say it's a balance is that we have to make sure that that use is compatible with the surrounding neighborhoods. So if someone's going to put in an infill housing development, we want to make sure that it's similar to the other neighborhoods surrounding it. It doesn't mean it has to be the exact same type of housing, the exact same lot sizes, but it should be compatible. For example, if you have large lot single family, it might not make sense to put a very dense apartment complex right next door. Instead, it might make sense to either put another single family housing development or maybe if you're going to increase the density, a townhouse or condo situation, but not going from one extreme to the other. So it's really a balance. We want to, revitalize our commercial buildings or strip malls that may be tired at this point. And yet we want to have some new infill development, but we want to make sure it's compatible.
We've talked about a lot of the issues facing the city of Farmington Hills. Would you just tell me what you see to be the one or two greatest challenges that the city of Farmington Hills faces as it moves towards the future?
Well, I'll talk about my priorities moving forward. We've already talked a lot about the senior center. That is a priority. We need to figure out how to replace the senior centers. The seniors are an aging demographic, not just in our community, in all communities really in this country. And we need to make sure that we have a space that they can go to recreate. It is so important that they are able to get out and about and exercise and have friendships and camaraderie with other people. We have an epidemic of loneliness in this country right now. People need to get off their phones and get off their computers and get out and about. And providing this senior center, a new senior center, will help allow for that. So that is a priority. Additionally, another priority is making sure that this city stays well managed and a balanced budget, and that we're focus on fiscal responsibility with quality services. That means maintaining a quality police and fire, maintaining quality recreation programs, but also making sure that we can do that within the context of balancing the budget. That's been a priority of mine throughout all these years, and it will continue to be a priority of mine in the future. One of those things that we're looking at in order to kind of help us continue to be well run is we're looking at an interlocal agreement, a partnership with Oakland County. If you recall, within the past couple years, Oakland County put forth a millage to increase the parks millage, and that did pass in Oakland County. So now the voters here in Farmington Hills, the residents of Farmington Hills, are paying an additional $3 million a year, which is in the millage, the Oakland County millage, which is going to Oakland County parks. The problem is the majority of Oakland County parks are either in northern or western Oakland County. They're not in southern Oakland County where we are. So those are dollars, our residents' dollars, that are going out and not coming back to our community. So we are working with Oakland County on this partnership where they would have more of a stake in our beautiful heritage park. And through that, we would be able to receive some initial funding. We're hoping to receive about $4 million from the county that could be infused into whether it be our park system or our special services programming or a new caustic center. And then on top of that, we're hoping that we can receive funding, regular funding from the county every single year. And that's still to be negotiated. Like I said, this is in the works, and so this is a priority of mine. But we want to receive some of that funding back from that millage to use for our Parks and Recs program. And then on top of that, part of this agreement is that Oakland County would help us maintain Heritage Park. We spend about $1.6 million every year just maintaining Heritage Park. So that is another partnership and priority of mine that I'd like to see us work on over the next 4 years of this next term, but hopefully we'll we'll negotiate that within the next year.
So that would provide additional funding for the Park and Rec programming here in Farmington Hills, and let the residents receive benefits from the taxes that we're paying to Oakland County Park and Rec.
Exactly. We're already paying that in the millage. We should be able to get our fair share back of it.
It sounds like a very positive thing to be able to secure sort of a reinvestment of tax dollars that we're sending off to county so it comes back into our city. I've enjoyed talking with you. One thing might give you the last chance is to say, why should I vote for you? Why should anybody vote for you? There are a number of people seeking election to city council. Give me 2 or 3 reasons why, when I look at my ballot, I should put an X by Valerie Knol for city council.
Great. Well, as I mentioned, I've been on the council for 12 years now in Farmington Hills, and I think I've got a good record. I listen to the residents. I collaborate with my fellow council members and the residents to come up with practical, reasonable solutions. And I focus on quality services and trying to provide good value for the taxpayers of this community. And I'm going to continue to do that. We have a great community here in Farmington Hills. Doesn't mean it can't get better. I'm always focused on continual improvement in this community. And I want to maintain Farmington Hills as a top quality place where people want to live, work, and play. I think I've done that in the past, and I hope the voters will trust that I will continue to do that in the future and put their trust in me and vote for me either on their AV ballot or on Tuesday, November 4.
I know one thing that you have stressed over this time, and as a former elected official, somebody who's heavily involved in local government myself, collaboration seems to be a basic value that you have, and being able to build teams on members of the city council and working with members of the city administration. So that's a refreshing kind of a value that you've seemed to express today. So again, we wish you the best. This has been I Can See Clearly Now. My name is T.R. Carr, I'm the host, and Valerie, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.